This is the Quizizz 8th grade math SBAC review part 6 for problems 8 through 17. For 8, the image shows what type of transformation? Well, just looking at it, it looks like if I fold this over the x-axis, that A to A prime would match B to B prime. So if it does fold over, that's a reflection. And a reflection would be equidistant from whichever axis it's reflecting over. So if C is 1 unit, C prime would be -1 unit. A is 1, 2, 3, 4 units positive. A prime would be 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. B is 1, 2, 3, so B prime is -1, -2, -3. So it does look like a reflection. Using patty paper, a rotation, if I rotated it, does not match up. And there's no way that I can translate it or slide it because you can't rotate it. They'll never match up. So a reflection, remember, is a flip. I flip it over, line up the origin cross, and A and A prime match up, B and B prime match up, and C prime match up. So again, it is a reflection. For number 9, determine how to translate triangle ABC prime to ABC. So this time they're telling you to start at the image and go to the pre-image. So how did you get there? So to translate from A prime, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And since I'm going down, I'm subtracting. So that's -9 on the y and 1, 2 to the right on the x, which is I'm increasing. So my y's, I'm subtracting 9 from them. And my x's, I'm adding 2. And the only one that works would be B. Add 2 to your x and -9 to the y. For number 10, is the picture being reflected over the y-axis or the x-axis? Well, here it even indicates which axis this is, and it's reflecting over the y-axis. Number 11, what is the rule for the dilation pictured? Well, when you see the word dilation, think of your eyes, how they dilate. They get larger or smaller. They increase or decrease in size, the pupil. So here we can see that this is C prime in the larger triangle, and here is C. So we're going from a smaller triangle to a larger triangle. It's very important that you pay attention to the prime marks here because that's where you're going. So we're starting from a small to a large, so that's increasing in size. It's getting larger. So now we have to figure out, well, what's the scale factor? How much larger is this getting? So if I look at the coordinates, so the coordinates were given, and here's A, and here's A prime. And I wrote them over here. So the coordinates for A, right here, is -2, -2. And for A prime is -4, -4. So from A to A prime, we know that it's increasing. Well, from -2 to -4, well, one of our options down here is that we're subtracting 2. Well, -2 minus 2 is -4. And for the y, you're subtracting 2. -2 minus 2 is -4. Well, that works, but you can see that we're increasing the size. Well, subtracting 2 would not be increasing the size. And if we look at from b, positive 1, negative 1, and positive 2, negative 2, this does not work for that, subtracting 2, because 1 minus 2 is not positive 2. So C does not work. And A is half of x and half of y. Well, we know that it's increasing in size and not decreasing in size, so it can't be half when we're going from a small triangle to a larger triangle. That doesn't work. So for B, you're adding 2. Well, negative 2 plus 2 for the x's does not equal negative 4. And same with y, negative 2 plus 2 equals 0, not negative 4. So now let's look at D, 2 times the x and 2 times the y. Well, negative 2 multiplied by 2 does equal negative 4. Negative 2 multiplied by by positive 2 does equal negative 4. And for B, 2 times 1 equals 2. And then for the y, it's also 2. Negative 1 multiplied by positive 2 does equal negative 2. So it does look like D, the dilation is multiplying by 2. And again, it's very important that you pay attention to the prime marks, because you know that it's going from a small to a large triangle with the prime mark. No prime, prime. So the only one, these two are decreasing in size, so these two might be an option if you went from large to small, but these are the only two that are increasing in size, small to large. For number 12, which rule would dilate and show a scale factor of 4? So you can see, here's your original image or your pre-image to your image. So it's increasing in size. So here, x and y to x and y, well, that's not changing. It's staying the same. So that would just keep the original. The values aren't changing. For for C, you have x and y. X stays the same. Y becomes its opposite. So this is decreasing. Well, that would distort this image. The x values would stay the same, but the y value is decreasing, so the vertical part of it would shrink. It would get smaller. Remember, in dilation, the size increases, but the shape does not. So there would be no distortion. The shape is the same. For B, x is increasing by 4, and y is increasing by 4. So the x value, it's getting wider and taller, and they're both getting the same. So this is increasing, and 4 times x and 4 times y, well, that's multiplying. This is increasing 4 times, and vertically and horizontally. X is horizontal, y is vertical. So when you see a scale factor of 4, that means 4 times the size of the original. And the only one that's 4 times the original is D. I have to identify the transformation from ABC to ABC prime. So I'm going to use patty paper, and a translation is a slide. So if I slide it, remember you can't rotate it or flip it. It's just sliding. It's not getting larger or smaller like a dilation was. So if I slide it down here, well, the shape looks the same, but you can see A lines up with B prime. So it's not a translation. Now let's try a 90 degrees clockwise rotation. So 90 degrees is 1/4 turn, and that does not get you down into quadrant 3. Now let's reflect it over the x-axis. So I'm going to flip it over the x-axis, and you can see C, B, A, and D all match up with their primes. So it is a reflection across the x-axis. A 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation, 1/4 turn, that does not work. For number 14, how many degrees was the figure rotated? So here we have n, and here we have n prime. So this is where we're starting. So I'm going to show you how to do a rotation without patty paper. N prime at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the y. So 4, 5, and when we rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, here's n, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they do match up. So it's a 90 degrees clockwise rotation. Using patty paper, it's a little easier. So here's my origin cross. Rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, and Q, R, E, and N all line up with the primes. So a 90 degrees clockwise rotation is the same as counterclockwise 90, 180, 270. So a 90 degrees clockwise rotation is the same as a 270 degrees counterclockwise rotation. For number 15, if you were to rotate ABCD 180 degrees about the origin, what would the coordinate A prime be? Well, A is at 1, 2, 3 on the x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the y. So 3 on the x and positive 5 on the y. So x, comma, y. Well, if you do 180 degrees, you're going in the opposite direction. So if you're going north and you do a 180 degree turn, now you're going south in the opposite direction. So if our coordinates are 3, 5, a 180 degree rotation is just going to be the opposite. Opposite of positive 3 is a negative 3. The opposite of a positive 5 is a negative 5. And I can show that using patty paper. We rotate it 180 degrees, and it doesn't matter if I go counterclockwise or clockwise. And you can see that it's going to, or A is going to be at negative 3, negative 5. For number 16, if you were to rotate ABCD 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin, what would the coordinate of A prime be? Well, here's A, and again this is at 3 on the x, 5 on the y. Now I rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise, and now A prime is going to be at negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5 on the x, and 1, 2, 3 on the y. So negative 5, negative 3. For number 17, rotate the point negative 3, negative 4 around the origin 180 degrees. So remember, 180 degrees is going to be in the complete opposite direction. So like if you're going north, you do a 180 degree turn, now you're going south. So if x is negative 3, the 180 degree rotation is going to make it positive 3. And if y is negative 4, 180 degree rotation is going to make it positive 4.